So the reference from the question came from the online course by Swami Parthasarathy. It's the Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 11, verse 36. So during the discussion of that verse, he said that the gross cannot receive the subtle. It is difficult for people to receive love or benevolence. We throw it back, it boomerangs. The question is, please explain this phenomenon. Okay, so let's start by just defining some terms. When we use this word love, we are talking about a sense of oneness or an absence of separation. So when you feel that you love something, someone, what you lose is a sense that we are separate entities. You exist in a state of oneness with that person or that creature or that phenomenon. So the sense of separation is what we can think of as the ego. So we've used the ego in different contexts. Generally speaking, or the subtlest definition of ego, is the identification with the body, mind and intellect. It's the notion that I am this thought, I am this emotion, I am this perception, I am this action. So what that means is that if I am this body, mind and intellect, then I am not anything else. So I feel separate. I am this and not that. So the ego is that which separates us from the world. We see ourselves as an independent unit. So you can see how then ego and love are antagonistic. I can't simultaneously be just this single independent unit and at the same time also be at one with you. Where there is love, there is the absence of separation. The other aspect of love that we can talk about here is to say that love is reciprocal. When you genuinely see love coming at you, there is a natural reciprocation. If you don't see it, then of course it can't be reciprocated. But when you do see it, there is a natural reciprocation. So when we talk about receiving love, it means allowing the transaction to be completed. Take a simple example. Let's say you go to your sibling's home and their young child is there and she has made a batch of cookies all on her own. The child comes to you and offers one of those cookies. Now you might not want one, but you take it and you eat it. Why? Because you recognize that you have a part to play in allowing that transaction to be completed. So receiving love means allowing this transaction to go to completion. You have to occupy the position of recipient. That means that you have to give something up. So you might not want the cookie, but you have to give up that state of not wanting. Another example that I've heard before is that love is that which allows you to receive a child who's been playing in the mud. Okay, so similar sort of situation. You go to a friend's home, their young child is there, they've been playing in the mud, they see you. They're happy to see you, they run up to you and give you a big hug. And of course they've got muddy feet, muddy hands, muddy clothes. What do? Push them away, run away? No, love is that which allows you to embrace the child, knowing that you're going to get mud on you. So you give that up. You give up your desire for clean clothes. But of course it's no true sacrifice because you know that you are giving and receiving something of much greater value. But nonetheless, love is that which allows you to transcend that. So receiving love means that you're in a sense giving something up. So we gave a couple of very simple examples. But if we go back to our definition of ego as seeing yourself as an independent unit, that is what you have to give up. And when you are in that state of separation, of seeing yourself as an independent unit, there can be a sense of familiarity, a sense of safety that comes with that. I know who I am, I'm here, I'm fine. I'm in my little bubble. My life is exactly the way I want it to be. When others come in now and want to connect with you with love, you have to give that sense of independence up. Here you can see how independence can have a downside. And everything is a trade-off. If you look at qualities of your personality, you can go through an analysis like this. What's the positive side of independence? But what happens when independence goes too far and it stops being healthy and productive for your well-being and growth and now starts being counterproductive? So this is what we're talking about with ego. The downside of independence, if it goes too far, is that we become rigid, we become stuck in our own bubble of existence, and that we can't allow others in. We can't connect with others at all. So what's the complementary opposite of that independence? Well, it's connection. It's relatedness. And again, you can go through that analysis as well. What's the positive side of connection? What happens when connection goes too far? What's the downside of connection? And that's when you need to rebalance and go back to independence. So independence and connection, they're opposites, if you like. And our job is to hold them in a sort of tension that is healthy for us. So the inability for us to receive love comes from that ego, comes from holding on to seeing yourself as an independent unit too much. What it means is that we have difficulty in letting others in, or another way to think about it is that we have a difficulty in letting others see us as we are. When there is that sense of love, that absence of separation, it's I am you and you are me. And so the person will have to see you as you are, just as you see the person as they are. And there's a sense of vulnerability that comes with that. And so that's why we wear the armor of the ego, so that we are not vulnerable. You know, when you go into battle, the armor is there so the arrows can't pierce the flesh. The armor of the ego is there so that their vision, their emotions can't reach us. Because if their emotion reaches us, then they're seeing us as we are. And for whatever reason, we don't want that to happen. It destabilizes our sense of safety and security to do something like that. And so the armor is there to stop that from happening. And the armor can take different forms. It can be someone who's perhaps cold and indifferent. It could be somebody who makes a joke out of everything. For everything that happens, there's a funny little comment, a quip, so that they don't have to deal with the reality of a situation. Everything's a bit of a joke. Or it could be anger and violence. It could be people pleasing. You simply do everything you can to accommodate everybody else as a way of avoiding your true feelings, your true needs, your own dissatisfaction. So the armor can take a lot of different forms. Think about it another way. If someone says to you, I love you, it actually does put you in a position now where you can attack a vulnerability, or so it would seem. If you were to say to that person, well, I don't love you, there's a power imbalance. You've said something which you would think would wound that person. Now, if it's truly coming from love, then that person's not going to be wounded. But the point is that the ego feels that when we let others in this way, that we are giving up our defenses, that we can be taken advantage of, that we're vulnerable. And so it doesn't want to do that. And so we have a difficulty in receiving love. But in the question, it references this idea that it boomerangs. So when the ego sees that someone is trying to express love to us, it believes that I have leverage now. When someone says, I love you, I appreciate you, the ego senses that there is some leverage and it can take advantage of it. So the example I've heard the Swami give, a husband comes home from work, sits down, tired, the wife brings him a cup of tea and so forth. The husband says, "Oh, I love you." And the wife says, "When are you taking me on holiday?" Okay, it's a very gross, very pedestrian example, but the idea is this, that when that expression of love and appreciation comes, the ego feels, aha, I can ask for something in return. So the ego takes advantage of the goodwill, the good emotions, the positive thoughts that the other person has. So this is one of the ways that it boomerangs. The expression comes to us, but we don't accept it. We don't sit with it. We don't join the person in that space. Instead, it bounces straight off the ego in terms of a demand for something. And it could be something as gross as take me on holiday. It could be something a lot more subtle, allowing me to function in a way in the home which is difficult to deal with. But the ego believes, oh, that person loves me, I can get away with being grumpy and disgruntled around the house all the time. Another way that it can boomerang is that the ego feels a sense of satisfaction. When you receive that expression of love, the ego feels catered to. Now, I'm handsome, I'm beautiful, or I'm a really nice person, or I'm so smart. That's why they love me. So it's, if you like, pumping up the ego, rather than simply connecting with the expression and reciprocating. So the question also says, the gross cannot receive the subtle. So the grosser the ego, the less we are able to receive or give love. So when we talk about the ego being grosser, it's which part of the personality we are identifying with that defines it. So we've been through the personality layers in the past. You have the body, the mind, the gross intellect, the subtle intellect, and the self. So the body is the grossest aspect of the personality. If we primarily consider ourselves to be a physical being, if our values in life are based around what the physical body does and its qualities and its properties, then we're at the grossest level of the personality. It's pretty rare to see someone who's wholly identified only at the physical body, or at least as an adult. Subtler than the body is the mind, our emotions, our feelings. Subtler again is our logic and reason, our thinking, our values, our ideas as it pertains to the world. Subtler again is the distinction between the world and our true self, which is the subtle intellect. And subtler again is our true self, our identity that does not rely on the qualities or properties of the body, mind, intellect. So depending upon where you identify, your ego will be grosser or subtler. And the subtler the ego, the more it can give and receive love. So in a simple way we can think about this, if you don't really identify with your body, if you simply see it as the vehicle for your experiences, then there's no sense of separation from others based on that. So when you see bodies of a different gender, of a different size and shape, of a different race, of a different age, of a different beauty and all the rest of it, it doesn't impede the sense of oneness. Whereas another person, when they do have the ego identified with the body, they see someone who looks different from them. And of course the classic example is a different race. And they immediately feel a sense of separation. Or a young person looks at an old person and sees an old body. Old man, I'm not interested in what you've got to say. It's based on the body. The gross cannot receive the subtle. It is difficult for people to receive love or benevolence. We throw it back at boomerangs. So it's because of the ego. Where the ego is functioning, it is the sense of separation, and so it gets in the way of that feeling of oneness.